I'm still trying to think about trust, how it has changed. That if somebody has no Facebook friends in common, would I trust him or her? That's very interesting. I also have a house in China, in Shanghai, and I spend a couple of months every year in China and have done so for the last 15, 16 years by now, to see how different the assumptions are which are made on WeChat, which is about 1 billion users, compared to Facebook. So in Facebook, we of course assume that we can see who are the friends we know in common. After all, I presumably know the friends which I have. On the other hand, no way that Chinese people would allow for that. So on WeChat, there is no thing like a social graph which is being exposed. Trust is a very social construct.
I did take a peek, and there are some suggestions for regimes that could help people take control and to have more agency with respect to their data. And one of the problems is, how do we actually create a legal incentive for that? Because in the example here, Amazon doesn't have any incentive to change its behavior. It's given an API, people can take their data, but Amazon still has your data. They haven't accepted any restrictions on it, so we need to move from that stage to a stage where people do have more agency with respect to their data. And the problem is how to create the incentives.
So incentivized. The refineries need to be, who needs to be incentivized?
So I totally
agree. The consumer or the refinery?
I think it has to be an incentive alignment. I think having sort of rules is nice, getting paid for something is nice. Having laws is more strong, but ultimately the question is whether the incentives are aligned. So if Amazon is to benefit from you taking your data elsewhere and then coming back and saying, I always knew it would be better at Amazon, then, it isn't their incentive. And that's usually the case for Amazon. But if some company tries to, get your data not in your interest, I love a world of more transparency where that gets called out. And the things that are just trying to smoke and mirror your data, that becomes obvious. And I think we'll be in a better world if there is more transparency, if we see whether our interests are aligned with the interests of the company.